Episode 58, Kids Games. Savage Amusement is a perfect phrase to describe the games my friends and I played when we were young. There was a large group of similarly aged boys who would gather and play seasonal sports on Alston Street and Fairmont Ave in Cambridge. We also played baseball in the rough field behind the BB Chemical, which is located on Memorial Drive next to the Charles River. It was fenced in with cyclone fences, but we cut holes in the fencing to get in. We played basketball at the Hoyt Fields outdoor courts all the time, just off River Street. We played football at the BB Chemical Field and also at Magazine Beach, which had a real groomed sports field. Jumping into piles of leaves in the fall and into Christmas tree piles after Christmas was great sport too. We would collect the leaves from far and wide and put them next to a fence or a garage so that we could get high enough to jump into the piles. Ditto on the trees. Winter meant snowy and icy roads, and that meant catching sliding rides on the back of slow-moving trucks, trolleys, and buses. It was almost like water skiing. We would hang on as the vehicle went straight, but the real fun was ice surfing around the corners, doing one-legged tricks and other really dangerous stuff. Winter also meant snowball fights among ourselves, chucking snowballs at stores and houses of people we did not like, and of course, throwing snow down the backs of cute girls. We played many street games like half-ball, which was a rubber baseball which was cut in half, and it was played on a reduced street-sized diamond using a ball which was and a half broomstick for a bat. When the cars came by, we would grumble and reluctantly move our flat cardboard bases and ourselves to the sidewalk. In the winter, we would play street hockey on Fairmont Ave on a spot we had watered for ice the previous night. I was awful at hockey. I could not stand up on skates, except by locking my knees together so the inside shoe sides of my skates gripped the ice. Therefore, I was destined to be the goalie. Another winter activity was building snow forts. We would shovel snow into a pile as high as we could and then dig out a chamber inside. We would pour water on the walls inside and outside to ice them down for long-term preservation. And there was a Cambridge Basketball City League based on age, and we neighborhood boys organized a team that we played against similarly aged teams and kids in the public school gyms. The local convenience store, Maddie's Variety, sponsored us and bought our uniforms and balls, etc. The league organized a schedule, and we played, won, and lost against competitive teams. We loved it. Although movies were not games, I include this story anyway. Very infrequently I was given or I earned money to go to the movies on a Saturday afternoon. Almost always I would go to the Olympia in Central Square because the ticket price was only 12 cents compared to the Central Theater's price of 16 cents. No popcorn, no candy, just a ticket, and I was lucky to get it. My father called the Olympia the Dust House when he went there a generation before. The Saturday show consisted of 2 feature movies, at least 1 cartoon, a newsreel, the previews of coming attractions, and a cereal. My friends would go much more often than me. We would see World War II movies, swashbucklers with Errol Flynn, westerns, Tarzan, Abbott and Costello, and spooky movies like Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Wolfman. The serials were shown to get the kids back the following week. We called them chapters. They ended with the hero hanging off a cliff or the girl tied up and thrown out of a plane without a parachute. Everyone would be on the edge of the seat and want to find out what happened. You could only find out by going next week. Because of a lack of funds, I never saw 2 consecutive serials. I never found out what happened. There were other promotions to bring in the moviegoers, such as giveaways of fancy dish sets, depression glass for adults, plus various contests, coupons, raffles, and all these took place during the break between feature movies. It was fun to see all that hoopla. The promotion I loved best was the pie eating contest. I won that once. The prize was a chance to put one hand in a large fishbowl full of half dollars, dimes, nickels, and pennies and with quarters and so forth mixed in. Whatever you could get out of that jar with one hand grab was yours, but only if you ate more pies than anyone else. The theater management would pick 10 contestants and seat them at a long table side by side, facing the cheering and kibitzing audience. The pies were Table Talk's 4-inch snack pies, blueberry, lemon, or apple. They would pile the same number of pies in front of each contestant. The ushers acted as the monitors to eliminate cheating. When the gong was rung, we started eating, and when the gong sounded again, the monitors would count how many pies were left in front of each contestant. The winner would have the smallest number of pies left. I was 10 when I won, and I had a hollow leg at that age. I remember scooping out almost $5 from the prize jar. We also participated in dangerous sports. I remember making a zip gun once. A zip gun fired real .22 caliber bullets. It was made from wood parts and thick elastic band cut from an automobile inner tube, a nail as a firing pin, and a piece of copper tubing as the gun barrel. The wood was used as the handle and the barrel mount. The tubing would fit into a carved-out slot at the top of a 5-inch by 1-inch by 1-inch piece of pine. The handle would be fastened to the barrel mount and would have a trigger mechanism using the elastic stretched out and then released by the trigger. The nail which acted as the firing pin was on a small piece of wood that was balanced evenly on another nail fulcrum. When the stretched out elastic was released by the trigger, the firing pin on the fulcrum would snap against the .22 shell. If the whole thing was done right, it would fire bullets, one at a time. We would fire these zip guns in the field behind the BB Chemical Company. We also made slingshots using the same cut inner tubes and a sturdy forked branch from a tree. Those we used to sling rocks at each other. We did not have television until much later. Our pursuits were almost always outdoors. I remember running all day long on summer days. Competition among neighborhood boys was fierce in athletics, which was not my best side. Also, scholastics was competitive, and I was matza. In the realm of finances, I competed very well with my money-making gigs. And in the snappy patter repartee arena, I excelled. Also, often using creative profanity. Money was in short supply, especially at the Murphys. Every nickel was a prize. All this helped to build my inner entrepreneur. This is Rod Murphy. Thank you for viewing or listening to my podcast episodes. I really appreciate it. If you liked it, and if you so choose, I ask you to send a good review and or refer a friend who might be interested in this Old Boston podcast series. Again, my thanks.